Inspired Intentions listeners, welcome back again today for another exciting Intentions podcast with a new guest and a familiar host. I am joined in the booth today with Ryan and Amber. Ryan, our LoseSmart director, our fitness director, one of my good friends here at work, and Amber, a guest who has been with us for 8 weeks and has a incredible story, incredible journey, a lot to say. She's giving me a look. This is our first time on a podcast.
Yes.
And we are so excited to have both of you. Ryan, thanks for coming back again, buddy.
Yeah, super excited to be here. Glad to spend time with Amber in the studio. It's going to be fun.
And Amber, we're so appreciative that you decided to come on here and do this with us. I know it took like pulling teeth, right?
Thanks for the invite.
We really wanted you here.
She's got one tooth left, so.
Just one.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. I'm glad we found that we made it work. So this is your last week, right?
Correct.
You leave in a couple of days?
Yep. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Well, why don't you tell all the listeners a little bit about yourself, where you came from?
All right. I'm originally from Wyoming, Colorado area, but I currently live in Oklahoma. That's about it right now. I came here because I needed to,
Yeah.
and that's how I ended up here for now.
Yeah, and 8 weeks, right?
Yep.
I was right?
Yep. 8 weeks.
And you spent most of your time with this guy right here.
I did.
Good friends now.
Yes.
Good friends.
We've been laughing and joking around like crazy, warming on the mics up and getting everything going. It's been a good time. I can tell you guys have a really, really great relationship.
I'll
We
tell
do.
you what. So the reason that I love this woman is because Amber has a very unique dichotomy to her personality. And what I mean by that, I can remember meeting you for the first day. I don't know if you remember this
Oh,
or
yes,
not.
I do. I actually talk about it frequently.
But I remember you coming into the strength room. We were doing Connect in the
You
morning.
mean Teresa just putting me in the strength room
right.
in the middle of class?
Teresa brought you in. But I remember at the end of it, we kind of just linked up with like a few quick moments of dialogue.
Yeah, I was
at
like,
the end
"Hi,
of class.
I'm Amber."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, who is this guy?"
But the funny part about Amber is like when you first meet her, like she's kind of a no nonsense kind of woman.
I am.
You know what I mean? Like you have that part of you that feels a little bit intense, and I'm not going to take anything. You know.
am.
But then it's like only a matter of moments that you spend with her
That's
that
true.
you realize that she has a very like tender nature to her personality.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. You know, it's like kind of
Thanks.
peeling back the onion a little bit,
Right.
you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right,
Yeah.
there's the real Amber.
Yep.
And it's been fun getting to see that
It
happen
has.
over past 8 weeks.
That's cool. I can reflect the same thing because you and I didn't do a lot of classes together.
Yeah, I was like even asking people. I was like, "Does Alan not like me the first couple weeks?" Because I was like, he hasn't said anything. And then like I don't know, one day we talked, and it's just been okay since.
Yeah, it
So,
was, it's just one of those
Right.
things where like we're two ships passing in the night and the lobby seems to be our ocean where
Yep.
we pass at. And then we
Yep.
just meet, we just sit down and talk
Yep.
for 10, 15 minutes
That's
and then
true.
go our separate ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, checking in.
And it's been great. I feel the same
Yeah.
way. Like I feel like I've just gotten to know you real slowly,
Right.
peeling layers back
Right.
throughout these past couple weeks. It's
Yep.
been really great.
And that's the thing about being here is like I found myself again. Like I was completely like not myself. Like, and my friends can like definitely agree with this.
Really.
Yeah, even talking to them on the phone recently, they're like, "What's up? Like you're different." And so I definitely needed this place, so it's hard to leave.
Let's dive into that. Like what did that look like before you got here?
Right.
Were they like reaching out to you and saying things, or did
So
you
like
just feel
I
it?
have a great group of friends in Wyoming that I grew up with, playing sports with, and everything. And I don't know. I started working remotely when I lived in Colorado because of COVID and whatever else, and they just kept us remote. And then I started doing a job where we were upgrading systems, and they asked me to do it. And it was a temporary position that turned into 2 years. And I literally was working 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be 7 days a week.
Oh,
and that
gosh.
kind of like just isolated myself. And then we moved, completely moved to Oklahoma. And, you know, friends went out the window. Work was everything. Never left the house. You know, unfortunately, DoorDash, Instacart, everything's so convenient to
Yeah.
show up at the door
Right.
that you just do that. And then the job ended and I had the option to go to a different department or get laid off. And I just kind of looked around and I was like, lay me off, because I knew that after looking around, I was like, how many times have I really left the house in 3 months? And basically doctor appointments. Everything else was convenient. It's right there at the house. And my son wasn't playing baseball anymore, so I wasn't even leaving to go watch him play. He was coaching, and that's kind of where it got me. And basically I was using the house for a walking path, and that's it. And so it just kind of, I knew I had to do something. And that's kind of where it took me a long time to find this, actually.
Oh, really?
I Googled, I mean, it was 15 hours away from where I live. So that's one of the reasons. So I really, really, really looked, and I called a lot of places. And then I called and talked to April, and then called back and talked to April. And so, like, I had a lot of questions, but I didn't want, like, after we talked about the LoseSmart and, like, the idea of it and everything, I just kind of was like, I need to go there. That kind of is what sold it to me at the time.
Was the LoseSmart program, or?
I think so. I really didn't even know about the LoseSmart program until I talked to April, and I think she kind of was like, because at this point I had probably called 10 other places, and I was kind of over it. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and so finally when I called here and I talked to April, I was like, okay, like, what is this place? And then I started looking on the website more. And then I just made the decision. I was like, okay, I'm coming. And then it got delayed a little bit then from when I was originally supposed to come. But I didn't even really look into it too much because I was like, I got to go. I don't want to look into it and make a decision. I'm not going to go because I feel overwhelmed or whatever the case is. And so after that, they started emailing me. I didn't even really look at my emails except from Teresa about arrival date. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Ryan was. I didn't know anything about the place.
Okay.
I just kind of know the basics of what April told me, and I was like, just get in the car and go. And that's what I did. And that's what brought me here.
Interesting too, because I know that like Greg will speak to that idea that like we suffer, from a mental health perspective when we know too much.
Right.
And it sounds like that's exactly what it was for you.
Oh, for sure. It almost I just was so overwhelmed by the whole trying to call and find anywhere, let alone that I was just like, it sounded the best. What was happening. I mean, I knew what the idea of the LoseSmart was. And that was the biggest thing is I'd call places and they're like, oh, we do 8 hours of working out every day. I'm like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. A lot of reviews, complaining, whatever was happening on other places. I was like, well, this isn't the place. This isn't the place. And so I didn't even, once I talked to April and the staff, I just kind of was like, this is it. Like, I'm not going to look into it. I'm just going to go. Yeah, it's 15 hours, but whatever. And so that's why I'm here. So...
Now that you've gathered as much information as you have, do you think that it has met the expectation it's Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is that I was afraid to come and get so overworked that I wouldn't be able to walk the next day. The food's great here, so that hasn't been a problem really. I just think that like when people come to places like this, I think the thing is go and just do everything 100%. And then by the end of the week, you're so wore out. And that's what I was worried about.
Yep.
And I even told them on the phone, I was like, block out a month. But if I get there in a week and I don't like it, I'm going to leave. And so
I hear that a lot.
And that's what's funny about this conversation is Teresa, comes in, we do the orientation or whatever, and she throws me in the class with Ryan, and he's already like halfway through the Connect. And I'm like, what is going on right now? And she just sits a bench and I sit down and I'm just like sitting there looking around and I'm like faking like I'm stretching. And then we met. Yeah. And I was like, after we met and we started like, after a few sentences, I was like, oh, I'm going to be fine. Yeah. And then we did the workout on Monday and I immediately went in and I was like, okay, I'm staying the month.
I heard
I'm
you,
good.
I remember.
Yep, I'm good. And then like by the end of that week, I'm like, month's not enough. How do I stay another? And that's kind of that's how I ended up being here 8 weeks. Like I knew within the first few days that I was going to end up staying longer.
Gotcha.
And that's such a beautiful thing that you were able to find that degree of comfort. Like this was a safe space for you, and then you can maximize your results.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was easy.
Did family play any type of role in making a decision to spend the time here or anywhere?
I mean, of course. I mean, like my son, of course, like I'm like sitting there, I'm like, okay, like I just lost my mom not too long ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was looking at, I was like, if I don't get my crap together, like I'm not even gonna see my grandkids. And that's kind of what drove me. But honestly, it was just getting my life back. Like I just kind of looked around. I was like, this is not me anymore. Yeah. And my son's 100% supportive of all this.
That's
and,
awesome.
You know, people, I mean, he's 24, and now that he's out of college and he's not playing baseball anymore, like he's got his own life. He's doing his own thing now. So I just think that, and he's been supportive, you know, and he even asked me if I was coming back for his graduation because he was like, "You're not staying, right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm coming home." So
Sounds like a good kid.
he is a good kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what were when you decided to spend the time here, you know, drive 15 hours, invest in Skyterra, invest in yourself, what were some of the goals that you were really hoping to get out of or what were the goals you were trying to achieve? What were you looking to get out of your stay?
I think mobility was the first thing. I think when I came
Okay.
here, I was like, mobility. Like, I got to get walking because if I can't get walking, you know, and I think that's where it started at. But then when we started doing strength training, I'm like, oh, okay, this is all kind of coming back. Like, and so like that became really comfortable more than anything else, I would agree. And so like that was the thing with Ryan. I was like, okay, like, and that's what's great about you is like you adapt to the situation. He doesn't over push anybody. You know, I always say he suggests something and then he makes you make the decision, but he's really kind of telling you. But
It's a
you
soft
know,
suggestion.
yeah, it is. You know, it's always like you could do more, right? And yeah, maybe like it's just always like becomes a question. But I don't know. It was easy to work with Ryan, and I think that's the biggest thing is like I don't think if Ryan was or is anybody different, I don't know if I would have stayed. And that's the hardest part. Like, because I've went through trainers and I absolutely hated them. And you just get to a point, it's hard to find good ones. And it's easy with you.
That's sweet of you.
No,
Aw.
thanks.
Well, I think it speaks to the dynamic of our relationship. And
For
like I
sure.
said, like in the beginning, I was still trying to figure out who Amber was, you know, and you know, I know our listeners don't know this. She's doing such a great job right now because she has a true sailor's mouth. So, you know, she's really censoring herself. I appreciate that. But, but I bring that up now because we're just always very playful with each
We
other.
are.
And I think like a playful relationship is, for me, it's always been the highest degree of a relationship
Right.
because that's the point at which you can let your insecurities go. Like
Right.
when you're in a playful
For
state of
sure.
mind, you're less egoic. You know, you're
For
worried
sure.
less about yourself
Yeah.
and you're in that high vibe state. So I think the last 8 weeks has been a reflection of that, is
For
that we've
sure.
taken our goals really seriously, but we haven't taken ourselves too seriously.
For sure.
And I think that I feel
Right.
like that should be your whole life.
For sure.
You know, if you can. I know we're
No,
all in different
100%.
positions, but that's what I've loved about this process is
Me
like we've been
too.
able to keep it light and we're still crushing our goals, but it's fun. You know?
No, for sure. And I think that like life is too serious in general that if you can't have fun, like, and that's kind of what I lost. And I realized that like the minute I got here and after a few days, like I was like, oh my God, I just lost that part of me. Like, so
Yeah.
it's back.
Rediscovered.
And so you spent and gained this relationship specifically through the LoseSmart program. I know you mentioned that already.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of takeaways do you have? Like you said, you wanted to regain mobility. That was one of your main goals while you were here. What else did you experience in the LoseSmart program? 8 weeks, right? Did you see any other progress or any other tick marks?
Oh yeah, my mental state alone.
Okay.
I mean, between going to Greg and working with Ryan, like, and even being around Teresa and the other staff, Claire. I mean, just having the conversations again. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I so isolated and been around my family. I'm like, so that alone, the mental state of it. I've had a lot of death in my family, and so it's like I think I shelter myself a lot when that happens because it's like it just feels normal and it shouldn't. But yeah, I don't know. I've lost myself, and I think I'm rediscovering that my mental health is better, my physical health is better, I'm sleeping better. So like all around, I can't really say like one thing has been better than the other. It's just
Okay.
like the whole person is completely different than when I walked in those doors.
Yeah. You think I could share one of your big benchmarks?
Sure.
Is it the one that I have a picture of on my phone from Teresa
It could be.
that they wrote on the
Oh my
board?
gosh,
I
I
was-
don't know. A lot of pictures have been taken recently.
I got a picture of a board. I'm
Oh,
gonna show
yeah.
I'm gonna show it to Ryan and see.
It's it.
Is it?
Yeah,
is
because
that
it
it?
keeps circling.
I think it's awesome. I think it's
Oh,
something you should be
thanks.
so proud of. Is
me
that the
see.
one?
This is the one, yeah.
That's the one.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, go for
Can
it.
I hold it?
Can I hold it? Can I cherish this forever? Yeah, so I think Amber already did a really good job of outlining what had transpired before you came, right?
Oh, for sure.
And there was a lot of deconditioning, and there was a lot of being inside and lack of movement. So when you came into the space, obviously it was like a little bit of a jolt to the body, a jolt to the nervous system.
Yeah, my body was in shock for a few weeks.
but all the while, we were trying to walk that fine line between like stressing you, not overstressing you, right?
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like that's something like I have to agree that we did a really good job on.
I think so
because
too.
I feel like if I pushed any little bit even more, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now.
Exactly. So just to give all of our listeners like a little context, so when Amber came in, it was our first cardio session on Tuesday, which is when we usually will pursue like a cardio benchmark. We want to see maybe how quickly you can do some rowing on a Concept 2 rower. On some days, we go for the distance of a mile, and we want to see how quickly we can complete that safely. And for some people, they will do some jogging. Other people, they will walk the whole distance. So when Amber first started, we wanted to see kind of where she was at with her endurance. And so she walked for 5 minutes on the tread on that first Tuesday.
Yep.
And I can remember we covered a distance of 7/100ths of a mile, right? 0.07.
Yep.
And it gave us a chance to take like earnest inventory on where you were at. That's all.
For sure.
That's all it was.
For sure.
You know. So she's now been here 8 weeks, and this past Tuesday, right? We tried the treadmill assessment again, and we walked 20 minutes, right, for a distance of just about a half mile, which was unbelievable.
Dang.
You know why I laugh about that? Because like.
Wow.
Like Ryan is so supportive, and that's the thing. Like that's why it's so easy to work out with him because he doesn't overdo it, but like, and that was the thing is like he's like, how far you're gonna go, and then he's like, I have a number in my mind, but like, and and like then he'll keep checking up on you, and you're just like. And like at some point I'm like, Ryan, leave me alone. But because I'm like, but I don't know. It was just and that's the thing. Like he'll come up and he was like, hey, you're at 12. Hey, you're at 15 minutes. How you doing? And he just checks on you, and he kind of, it almost like you're pushing me, but you're not. It's and that's what makes you a good trainer is because, and so I was just like, and by the time I got to 17, I was like, why should I even stop? And that's what I told you. I was like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where we ended up.
All the while I was kind of writing her numbers on the whiteboard back, where she couldn't see where it was happening.
Yep.
But then she would like go for another minute, and I would go over and I'd like cross it out, and then another minute, and I would cross it out, and like so now the whole board is just covered up with incremental 1 minute time frames.
That's what all these marks.
That's what all those marks are.
I can see it.
And then after 17, he comes up to me, he's like, "How you feeling?" I was like, "I'm just gonna do it." And then that was the last one that he crossed.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty staggering.
I was actually shocked. Like honestly, after I got done, I was like, "Oh my god, I just did that."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
amazing. And that only gets better from here.
It does.
That's the beautiful part is that it's a never unfolding process.
For sure.
So super stoked to see next 6 months.
Oh man,
I keep crossing it out.
Right.
30 minutes.
Yep.
That's cool. Did you have any other like strength training things that you were doing? Any benchmarks there?
I was actually shocked. Like even when I came in and like did bench pressing and stuff, I was like, oh, it's still there. Like I was really, really shocked. Like even the first week I was like, oh, okay, it's there still. Mm-hmm. And then I just think like through the weeks, it's just progressed, and like Ryan pushing me like, hey, do you, and that's the thing is like Ryan, like I'll go to him and be like, hey, what should I start at? Like, here's my max. And like, we just have a conversation about it. And then, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know the numbers exactly, but just being an athlete when I was younger and through my 20s and stuff, it just, your muscle remembers. And I'm realizing a lot of that right now. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things I need to work on for sure, but I feel like progression went good.
Those movements, they came back to you really quickly.
They did.
Yeah, there was not a ton of adjustment there.
Yeah, even form, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's not too bad. Like, there's a few things that I'm like, Ryan, but yeah, I think it all just came back pretty quickly.
I think the other thing that has really benefited you has been the mentality that you came in with.
Right.
It's going to be different for every guest, right? And for some guests, they need to have more almost of the narrative scripted for them. They need that voice to say, hey, you can do this. And I think when Amber came in, we had some limitations, things that we couldn't do right out of the gates.
Right.
But what you are is like you're solution oriented, and I love that about you. And like there are times where you might hear someone say to you like, I can't do that, you need to give me something else, but for you, I felt like your radar was already on for that. Like you were already looking for like, how am I going to make this work for myself?
Right.
And I think like your results come so much faster when your head is already on what is going to be the solution as opposed to like what's going to get in my way.
Right.
So you did a great job with that. You should feel really good about that.
Thank you. And I think the first week I did kind of, I don't want to say scared, but I was like, oh gosh, like what am I going to be able to do? But once I got in there and like, I was like, you know what? I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. By the first week, I was like, oh, we're going to figure this out. And that's like, and that's the thing. Squatting is not a thing for me. Goblet squat's not a thing. But then I go on the leg press or I do it on the TRX. So like we've figured it out and it's getting better. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, developing that inner voice of I can do this it's probably like the most undervalued piece to the whole equation.
Yeah.
Because once you have that voice of like, I could do that instead, then the world opens itself up to you. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can pursue your goals wholeheartedly.
Right.
So.
Do you see that a lot where people just really focus on the thing that they can't do and that holds them back?
I do. And I think some of that is fear-based, like you just mentioned.
Sure.
You're stepping into a space that maybe is completely unfamiliar to you. I mean, you were a previous athlete, so you had some of that background knowledge.
Yep.
There's some people who have never exercised before in their entire life. So I think all that fear can come into the space. So for anybody who's listening out there, I just want you to remember, like, it's not as scary as you think, typically, right? Like, we suffer more in our mind than we do in reality in most cases. But I think because we can feel scared or hesitant, it comes out as a self kind of imposed barrier. We say like, I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't. It's just you trying to protect yourself and take care of yourself. So it's admirable in a sense, but it can get in the way of your results.
And I've even seen it with guests I've came in the 8 weeks I've been here. There's times that I'm like looking at them like their form, like, and and I've even like Ryan, because like you just don't want people to get hurt, and that's what the biggest thing is. But then also it's like, and that's what's so great about the LoseSmart program is Ryan mentioned it, we become this little family. Like a lot of my good friends now have came out from the Loose because we're with each other all day long. And so like, I think that's where you create these relationships and you kind of like look out for each other.
Exactly.
And, and so that's what's so great about the program and how it's structured is something that you can take home and do. And I think that was the biggest thing I learned from the first week too. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like I can take this home and take an hour of my day and make this work. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing about the LoseSmart program. And that's why, like, if I even came back, I got down to my weight that I want to be, everything. I don't see myself not being in it because it's just how it is. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And I think that's how it's helped a lot of people even going home. So
it's pretty cool stuff.
It is.
I think like you expressing and explaining how tangible it has been, and how accessible it's been. I think that also reflects well with the results that you've gotten, right?
Oh, I agree.
I mean, we always say with our LoseSmart guests is like, we want to see small, consistent progress, during your time here.
Yep.
Sometimes people come into it thinking, it's going to be a radical body transformation. But what we're really trying to hone in on with our program is the idea that you want to be able to do this consistently for the rest of your life.
Yep,
right?
a lifestyle. That's it. Yep.
And it's fascinating how if that is done wisely over the course of 52 weeks, like you could be a different human being at the end of a year, or 2 years.
Right.
And I think that's what Amber really saw was like slow, steady progress, but, I was looking at your numbers a little bit and I know we're still going to do an in-body scan tomorrow, so we'll see how it all looks, but you already discussed all the amazing wins, but even numbers on paper, like we pretty consistently average about 3 pounds of body fat loss every week.
That's true.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the biggest thing is like, I could probably eat completely different and lose 10 pounds a week, but it's not healthy. Like, and I know that, and I've been there and I've done that, but guess what happens? The minute you don't maintain that, guess what comes back?
Yeah.
And that's what I think the biggest thing also I've taken away from this is like slow and steady, lifestyle change. Like, we've talked about like strength training and, how important it is. And people just think cardio. Like even when I was younger, that's what it was even in sports. It's like, oh, let's go run for 2 hours during sports. But like weight training is so important. And I think Ryan does such a good job explaining why, and the knowledge that the staff has concerning that. And I think that's where I think it gets lost a little bit is, everybody just thinks, I've got to be on a treadmill for 2 hours straight, cardio, 100 miles, your heart rate's as high as it can go. And it's really not benefiting you.
It's true.
And so I think that's why LoseSmart is like, and it's so much knowledge, and you just got to take it home and do it.
Outside of LoseSmart, because LoseSmart's its own program, specific things. You're not in it 24/7.
No.
Like you're not doing LoseSmart classes. How did you orient the rest of your time while you were here? Because like we would always pass each other in the lobby.
Right.
You're getting your R&R and recovery in between classes and things. But what else did you get into? What was the atmosphere like around the rest of Skyterra?
It was quite weird for me the 4 weeks. I was I don't want to say terrified, but I didn't want to be in my cabin. I literally sat in the lobby all day, every day if I wasn't doing classes, because I didn't want to go sit there and get in the same rhythm I was at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like that kind of was like the first month of it until I started feeling comfortable. Like, oh, okay. I worked with Claire on like yoga stuff, getting up off the floor. Like I worked and she took time out, anytime she had like, let's go work on this. And so I did that with her a lot. I've done other classes. Like once at the 4 week mark, I kind of like luck of the draw on Fridays. Like I love that class. So I did that. I've done that a few times. I've done other classes. I've actually sat on other classes and just watched and not participated because I'm too sore or whatever. So I think the experience in it all has been great. The staff's awesome. So it's been easy to, understand where I feel like I need to be all the time, and questioning and talking to people. So I don't, a lot of people do come here within the first 2 days. They're so wore out because they do every single class. And, and I think even if I wasn't in the LoseSmart, I would be scared to do that because then by the time Thursday, Friday comes, you're so sore. And so that's kind of how I feel about that. But, there's things to do, puzzles. The pool's there, you can go to any time. I've, the sauna to pool, hot tub to pool, hot tub. I mean, there's plenty to do. The walking trails, I've took golf carts out on the walking trails and just went and had fun. So, I mean, there's things to do here besides just working out.
Absolutely.
The kitchen, being able to go into those classes and just watch them demo.
Oh, cool. So you did some of the culinary education?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
I know you guys linked up a little bit, even off campus, with some of the other LoseSmart members.
We did, yeah.
And you guys went and caught a movie together.
We did, and we went to Asheville and Hendersonville, and and that's the thing, especially with LoseSmart, or you get home with a group of people, or you're here for a few weeks, you kind of attach to the people that have been here. So it's easy to, create those relationships and then go do those things, and
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what else that we've done. It's been fun. So that's all I can say. I mean, there's pickleball. There's tons of other things that maybe I didn't get involved in that I've seen people enjoy here. And that's what makes this place great is it's not just the spa side of it or the wellness spa or just the fitness side. There's things to do just to check out. And I think that's what's important is everybody's here for different reasons. And I've realized that, and I realized that quickly. And some people just want to get away from reality and they just want to sit in their cabin and look at the mountains all day. And good for them, and that's how I feel, and then some other people are here for completely different reasons. So yeah, I've seen it all.
What are you feeling like now? You're getting ready to go home.
I wish I had another month, but I do need to go home. Reality's waiting, but
well, originally you had a month, and then you extended, right?
A month, and I wish I had another month, just because of how my body's feeling. I just feel like I'm getting over that threshold of where I need to go up a little bit more, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I'll just have to do it at home. But I mean, it's a lot of working with Jeannie. Food wise, talking to Ryan, we had our meeting today. Checking in with Greg before I left just to make sure mental side of it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel ready, and I think when you have to go home, you have to go home. So you got to figure it out. And I guess that's what I'm doing is figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so,
figure out how it fits into normal life.
right. Yeah, making sure the schedule stays the same. And that's the thing. I've told Ryan this earlier. I was like, how it's structured at LoseSmart, it doesn't matter what time I'm doing it, I'm going to go do it. You know, if it's at night or whatever, I'm just going to kind of keep that structure. And the biggest thing that we added recently, or they did, was the zone 2 cardio in the morning the last few weeks. And I think it's been a lifesaver just because it gets you up here, it gets you before breakfast, it gets you moving. And so when you're going into Ryan's class or whatever class you're going into next, you've already started moving. And that's what I think has been the biggest help, because like there's times I went into Ryan's, I'm stiff, I'm tired, whatever. And that zone 2 cardio in the morning that the LoseSmart has started doing.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
So a couple weeks ago, Teresa suggested like, hey, why don't we just come in and do zone 2 cardio at 7:30 in the morning for 30 minutes before breakfast, before, basically fasting.
Schedule.
Yeah, and it was never scheduled. Now it is. Teresa this is the first week that it's been put on, because it's been great for us. We all love it. And all of us LoseSmart people come in around 7:30 and 7:15, 7:30, and we get about 30 minutes of zone 2 in before breakfast. And I think it's been the biggest change for me cardio-wise. And I'm going to continue it at home. And anybody can do it. We're not saying it's just for LoseSmart, but it's been very successful. I mean, everybody's doing it. Nobody's really missing out on it, and everybody loves it. So I think that's the biggest change that I've absolutely loved.
It's been like it seems to feel like it's been another like bonding opportunity too, because it's kind of like this shared goal.
It's true.
So you guys are showing up together, and it's like, who's there, who's not there? All right, everybody's here. Let's do it.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Ryan, what are some of the things that you've kind of implemented or pushed on to make sure that Amber's, progress and everything doesn't feel like temporary, that it feels like that it's something that she can continue from the coaching aspect when you go home? Because clearly she's kind of hit the nail on the head with saying that you feel like you feel like you're ready. But from your angle, what was some of the stuff that you feel like that you did?
I think that Amber has done a good job of kind of highlighting some of that already. Having 8 weeks together has given us a chance to build the knowledge of what are the most effective protocols that we need to have in place. What we all can suffer from sometimes is the noise of the fitness and the wellness industry, where the newness of things is what takes center stage, right? So, and we're definitely at that time right now with social media. Like, you're basically looking at what's new and effective every single day, every single minute of your life. But when it all, when you boil it down, it's like, 20% of what we do is what gives us that 80% return on investment. And I think having the 8 weeks together and following the structure of our LoseSmart program, it's been informative. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to need a little bit of this, a little bit of strength, a little bit of cardiorespiratory, training, some mobility work, lots of daily movement, right? And those are the foundational pieces. So I think that's been probably like the biggest one, is just making sure that we feel comfortable with that, not shooting for the absolute stars all the time, thinking about what is the minimum effective dosage within those 4 umbrellas that's going to give me, positive outcomes. I think that's the other big one too. We've been realistic with our expectations with,
For sure.
How's this going to be consistent as opposed to some sprint to the finish line.
Right.
So those are the first things that I think about. It's like the knowledge with the reasonable expectation is what, lends itself to long-term success.
And I think that's like what the LoseSmart program is like. We have that interaction, and we have so much time together that Ryan really knows each individual person more of what they can do, what they can't do. Like, and I think that's where the relationship builds. And then, I can go to Ryan and be like, what do you think of this? And he's like, and I've seen him do it with other guests where, he zones in on what you need versus what you hope or want. And I think that's what makes the program so good and how it's structured at this time.
Yeah. The environment lends itself well to
For
that.
sure.
Yeah. Because you just, you don't have as many people in the class. You have that, small knit feel.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? I had a question for you. So you got people who are listening right now, maybe people who are considering making the choice to come here or to go through this program specifically. Like, if you had to give them a piece of advice, a consideration, like what is what's your takeaway? Like, what's your one big thing that you would say to somebody who might be on the fence about doing something like this?
Just do it.
Just do it.
And that's the thing is like, I think we get in our own minds so much, and we just like, and I think that's also what's held me back a little bit is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much pain. I'm this, I'm that. And I just think that, if you can and you're able, like, just come, and just try it. And I can tell you right now, like, within a few days, I've not heard of, even in the LoseSmart or Skyterra, I haven't seen a guest or heard a guest that I've been here 8 weeks sit there and be like, I wish I didn't come. Mm-hmm. It's usually, I'm glad I came. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm glad I did, and I'll be back. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing is just suck it up and come, yeah. And that's how I felt when I came. Don't think into it too much. If, and it depends what you're coming for. Me, I'm totally different than a lot of people. And I think that's kind of what it is. But I was really impressed when I called multiple times and asked multiple questions. I feel like I never not got my everything answered, and that's kind of what also gave me the peace of mind. They weren't passing me the buck, or they're like, oh, you know what? Everything got answered. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing. So
well, I've just been inspired to reach out to our marketing team and have them put on the website, suck it up and come, in the words of Amber.
Let's not.
We're going to see.
No,
We might get a
I don't
big,
know.
Who knows?
big push on that.
They're like, yeah, this place is real. Look at that.
It is. It is. And I'm glad I came.
Yeah.
I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah.
Good. Amber, when I asked you earlier, and I ask every guest that comes on here, first timer or not, what do you want people to take away from this conversation? You told me the little milestones. Mm-hmm. Would you elaborate that on?
I don't know. Like my milestones, like I literally, when I pulled up the first day, barely could walk to the front desk. And they're like, you have to stand here and fill out some paperwork. I'm like, I don't know if I can, kind of thing. And I don't know. I just think it's the little milestones, how I'm walking now, the movement, the eating habits now. It's just the little things. And I think that was, my mentality has always been 0 to 100. I always want to get to the finish line tomorrow. And it's not, and that's one thing with the classes and everything that's held here, Ryan, the conversations that I've had, Greg, it's baby steps. And if you don't go through those baby steps, you're going to fail every single time. And that's what's been happening for me for a while now, is like you try to go and do everything all at once. And then it's so overwhelming. You're just like, nope, I'm done. Yeah. And we talked about this. The third week I was here, I got sick and I was miserable. Sure. And the only thing I was thinking is just get in and do cardio. Like I didn't do strength training with Ryan or anybody because I didn't want to touch any of the weights or anything. I was coughing all the time. And I was just like, I came to the cardios, but I was all by myself in the corner. But me and Ryan talked about this. Like, if I was home and that happened to me and I put all this work in for 2 weeks and then I got sick for 10 days, would I have went back? Probably not. I probably would have been like, all those 2 weeks that I put in are in the past now because now I feel like I've been sick for 10 days, And so I think that was a big driving point here because I knew that I was going to get up the next day and come. And now I feel like if that happened to me when I get home, it's not going to be like that. Sure. But those are the little things that you don't realize really if you're at home and you didn't have the structure of this when you're starting off something like this to have. And that totally changed my, like when Ryan said that to me one day, he's like, you probably wouldn't have came back. You wouldn't have probably, if you were at home. And I'm like, he's right. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have gave up on it. And I think some people just need help. And that's how where I was. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing or didn't know how to do it or whatever. I just think having the support has been the biggest thing for me. And I think that's what's been provided here. And, and I feel like even when I go home, I think that no matter what, there's emails, whatever, I'm going to be able to reach out and be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. I've had a bad week. But, I don't know. I think it's just been the support. Yeah, with that.
Yeah. I'll pull one out of Ryan's book, and it's that you have to fall in love with the process.
You do.
And the process being all those little steps along the way.
For sure.
That's it.
I stole that one from you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He says that a lot
true.
too.
It's just, what always humors me is like you get to some perceived end and then you realize you have to keep doing the doing anyway.
Yep, you got to maintain.
Yeah, so it's like get addicted to the doing.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
The process is actually the outcome.
I think what was it, like the second or third week I told you that I'm falling in love with working out again.
Yeah,
and I
cool.
haven't felt that in a long time.
Yeah.
And so like I think that was the turning point when I was just like, this is gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything that either of you kind of want to finish and tie a bow on this thing with?
I think when I had asked you about what advice you would give to people, and you said, just come.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what sits beneath that answer is this idea of like, you just have to have enough courage to do it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that we're all looking for courage to do hard things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can find it, if you can find even like a small dose of courage, like you will fascinate yourself with how quickly you become more and more courageous. It's like courageousness has a degree of contagion to it, and it has a unique ability to compound. And so if you can be courageous enough, right, to take the first step, which is exactly what you did, all of a sudden you'll see the evolution happen. You will become more courageous. You'll do more because you gather information as you go.
Right.
And I think that you've been a very pronounced example of that.
Thank you.
You had the courage to take hold and take control of your life. And you get to keep doing that when you get home.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be an unending path.
It is.
But that's the joy.
You know what? You're right about that. Like, I think that people, if they're looking for a place like this, especially in my situation, and they want to looking for a LoseSmart program or whatever you want to call it, I think that's the biggest thing is like the support. I think just people just need that, and if it's a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, I think that's the biggest thing is that you're going to come out. It's like sometimes you just can't do it by yourself, and you've got to get the help.
Yeah.
And if it's at home or here, but I'm glad I came.
Yeah. As am I, Amber.
Me too.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Me too. That just means you have to come back. And like you said last time, you're going to hike with me when you come back.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's gonna be incredible.
That's the goal.
I love that.
I love that too.
When is that going to be?
Depends, Ryan.
All right.
She's giving us sooner rather than later eyes.
That's true.
Hey, let's do it. I'm excited.
That's
Yeah.
great. Amber, I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing
sure.
a little bit of your story.
Thanks for
I know
that.
that people that are listening will find it, it's easy to say powerful or inspiring, but I think just simply encouraging.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people that, like Ryan said, are too scared to take that first step for one reason or another, and you did it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've seen a lot of people change here just in the short time I've been here, just mental state, physically. It's incredible. Even a week or two that they've been here, it's just, this place is a good place, and you kind of need it in your life sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on here. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions, listeners, you know where to find us. Shoot us an email at inspiredintentions@skyterrawellness.com, and we'll get back to you.
That's it. See you in the gym tomorrow
You will.
for our last workout.
You get to go sign
Don't
the door
remind me.
now.
Don't remind me.
Sign the door time. Woo! All right, let's do that thing. Thank you.
All right. See you.
All right, bye.
The Inspired Intentions podcast is a production of Skyterra Wellness Retreat. Special thanks to our executive producer, Alan Broyhill. Send us your questions and comments to inspiredintentions@skyterrawellness.com. Subscribe on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be found. If someone you know might benefit from this podcast, share Inspired Intentions with them and give us a 5-star rating. Join us next week as we cut through the unrealistic noise on diets and fitness and show you how healthy living fits seamlessly into your already busy life. Thanks for listening.